Hello friends, welcome. Friends, we all know that the mobile operators have made lot of investment in 5G and they are still struggling to monetize 5G. And 5G has resulted in exponential increase of data. And this is clearly evident from Reliance Industries quarterly results, which was published on April 26, 2025. Now, if you go through this report or this result, transcript of the call, you will notice that emphasis has been on data consumption, and it is being said that the data consumption in the Reliance Jio's network is breaking all records, not only Indian records but also global records, and they have recorded a 49 exabytes of data in the last quarter when the results were announced, and the data traffic is growing 20% year on year. And since the 5G is yet to be monetized, lot of emphasis is there on monetization of this exponential growth of data. So if you look at this line, which Anshuman is talking about, it's saying that we have really not started monetizing 5G. So effectively 45% of the data that people are today consuming is being offered to them free of cost. Now friends, why I'm doing this video today? The reason I'm doing this video is because 5G has not yet delivered the results which the mobile operators were hoping, right? We all know that. But 5G has resulted in huge uptake of data in the mobile operators network. That is also a fact. Not only Reliance Jio's report is talking about this, but also the TRAI report is also talking about the same. Because if you look at the TRAI's quarterly report, which I captured in my website, you will notice that the main driver for data is 5G. 4G is now plateauing. You see, it has gone up and it's now going down. 3G is already in the downhill path along with 2G. So the per subscriber data consumption, which is going up and up, was mainly driven by 4G earlier. Now 5G has taken the baton and now is pushing the per subscriber per month data consumption, which is roughly around 21 GB per month, right? So today, my focus would be in this video that whether this exponential rise of data consumption as because of the result of 5G is sustainable, and it is going to raise the ARPU of mobile operators and help them monetize 5G. That's the whole point about this video, because Reliance's quarterly results hopes to monetize this. They are talking about that they have been giving this data free of cost. So future ARPU enhancement is going to be completely linked to how they will be able to monetize this exponential rise of data. And today's video is focused on that, whether it is possible to monetize this data, what kind of challenges that we are going to face, whether the country's economic setup is capable of absorbing this data increase and going to pay for this data. Everything is going to be discussed, friends, in this video. I have written an article in my website. If you go to my website, an article on this topic has already been written. Let me just show you the article. So this is the article which I wrote in my website. Anybody is interested, he can go and have a look at this article. I'm going to paste a link of this article in the description. So this video is almost like going through this article and giving you a very good understanding, which people may not be interested in reading. They want to listen. So that's the whole purpose. So what I have done, friends, is I have captured this whole article in a slide deck, and I'm going to take you through point by point each and every aspect so that you can clearly understand logically whether the argument that I'm presenting before you makes sense or not, whether data is monetizable in India or not as regards 5G is concerned. Okay. So the article's title was Unscalable Truth. So I kept the slide deck title also say the same. And what I am going to discuss here, that why fixed broadband, which is the main source of exponential data increase, can't follow the mobile path in India. And there are reasons for that. Let me explain. So the question that we are going to answer in this video is that Jio's reports massive data consumption, which I've showed you. But is this growth driven by revenue or strain? That is what we are going to talk about. And we will investigate what is behind these numbers, right? So we're going to talk about the things which are under the hood, right? So the FWA, the hidden driver for data growth, we all know. And why FWA is the hidden driver for data growth? Because though the numbers are pretty small, the FWA consumes 20 times the data which typically a conventional smartphone user consumes. Now, you know that we already are aware, if you go to this TRI data, which I keep consolidating in my website, so you will notice that even before 5G came into being, which was in Q1 2024, our 4G consumers were already consuming around 17.36 GB data per month, which rose to 18.39 GB per month. And then as the 5G started showing and consolidating its foot in the market, this was being driven, and slowly the number has increased to roughly around 20 GB per month. But what has happened is the people have started moving out from 4G to 5G. So therefore, whatever data that they were consuming in 4G, similarly on smartphone, the similar data is getting consumed. But this whole rise of data, right, which is incremental, looks incremental on a per subscriber basis, is mainly driven by FWA, which is what I'm going to explain to you in this video, how the numbers are going to be analyzed and what kind of conclusion which we can draw. So let's go here. So we know that the 5G numbers are how much? For Jio, for 5G FWA numbers are 5.2, right? As per as February 2025, each of the FWA users pays around 700 to 800 rupees. How do I know that? Again, we'll go to the Reliance's website. Let's see. Here you can see that the tariff plan is between 600 to 1200 rupees, and 600 plus GST comes out to be around 700. So I've taken an average of around 700 to 800, right? So that's how this number has come. Each of the consumer consumes of the FWA consumer consumes around 350 to 400 GB of data. How this consumption has been measured, I'm going to show you in a different Excel sheet. So which is 20x of that the mobile user, because mobile user typically is consuming roughly around 20 GB per month, but an FWA user is consuming around 400 GB per month, and it can go even higher than that because today FWA is being positioned as a replacement for DTH. So this number can hit as 1 terabit. I am going to show you in the next slide. So this is an exponential increase of data by one single consumer who is consuming data equivalent to how many mobile users? 20 mobile users, right? If you take 400, but if you take 1 terabits, then it is 100. No, it's not 100. So 1 terabit would be, so let's do the calculation. 100 divided by 20, 1000 divided by 20, 50 mobile users, right? If you take that as a reference, and this is not an unrealistic number, friends. I'm going to show you why. Now, FWA users, 20 mobile data usage, we know that, but it is only consuming, resulting in 3 to 4 times the ARPU, because an FWA user is giving 800 rupees, and a mobile user is roughly giving around 200 rupees ARPU, right? So 5.2 FWA users equivalent to, which is the February number, 104 mobile users. How this number comes out to be? 5.2 multiplied by how much? Multiplied by 20, 104, right? Because 20 times the data consumption. So therefore, if you see from an ARPU perspective, so if these were mobile consumers and they were resulting in this much revenue only, which is because the revenue is going to be the multiplication of 5.2 into 800, you will notice that this number comes out to be only 40 rupees ARPU increment. So if those FWA customers were mobile customers and you expand them to 104 million, because they are straining the network as much as this 5.2 FWA users are straining the network as much as 104 mobile smartphone users, but they are only contributing just 40 rupees ARPU. A conventional mobile user would have contributed how much? 200 rupees ARPU, right? So that's a clear fact. Now, how did I calculate the FWA users are using roughly around 400 GB of data, right? How did I calculate? So for that, friends, I'm going to take you through this sheet. I've created a sheet. So in this sheet, what I have done, I have taken the average data usage GB per month for 31st December 2024, which is how much? 21.52. How did I get this number? Again, I go to this website of mine and you see 29.52. This is the number, right? 29, that is third quarter of 2025. So let's go to that sheet, 29.52. Now, average wireless phone data usage, GB per month, with marginal FWA, and the FWA numbers are very small, which was on 31st December 2023, was 19.47. How did I get that? Again, I go to that, get the same sheet. You'll see 19.47, which is this third quarter 2024, which is 31st December 2023, right? So let's go to that sheet. So this is the number. And wireless data subscriber on 31st December 2024, as per the TRI report, which includes FWA, comes out to be 929.97, which includes FWA. The FWA subscriber on 31st December 2024 estimated, which I estimated 5.2 million, because I don't have the number. I only have the number for January and February because TRI has started reporting it only January and February. Now, using the weighted average formula, and I'll show you the weighted average formula is very simple, right? So what I've done is that weighted average formula means the total data usage, which is the total average wireless data usage, which is this, right, will be what? Will be the data usage of FWA, total data subscriber minus FWA, right? Because this is the total data subscriber minus FWA multiplied by the data usage of wireless subscriber without FWA, which is 19.47, because 1 year ahead when there was no FWA, and then plus what? 5.2 multiplied by X. So when I calculate this comes out to be, see, this is the formula. If people can, pause the video and look at this formula, you will see that it comes out to be 386.1. This is the weightage average formula, right? So using this formula, I have come to a conclusion that a typical FWA user is using around 400 GB of data, which is very clear. A simple calculation which you can do using the TRI data. So that is what is which we are seeing here. FWA usage roughly is around 386 GB per user per month, which I have already shown you as calculate through the Excel sheet calculation. Now, this is the current usage. But mobile operators are positioning FWA as a DTH alternative. Now, if you are positioning FWA as a DTH alternative, then as per my calculation, the HD 4K streaming, right, which is 4 hours per day into 7.5 GB per hour, 30 GB per day. I'm only taking 4 hours per day, right? And if you multiply this 30 into 30, it comes out to be 900 GB per month. 900 GB per month if you are going to replace FWA as if you are going to replace DTH with FWA, and you are going to watch continuous TV channels with the 4K or HD kind of streaming, and only for 4 hours, not for 24 hours or 12 hours. Still you are consuming around 900 GB per day. That is why both Jio and Bharti have a cap of 1 tera TV. If you go to Bharti's website, because Jio has not specifically mentioned this, I'm going to show you from Bharti's website. If you go down below, frequently asked question, and here you will see how much data goes into Airtel Extreme plan. It says that Airtel Extreme Fiber plan provides a data up to 1 TB per month. Post exhaustion of this data, the speed will be throttled by 2 Mbps. So this is the same is true for Reliance Jio also. That is why it is impossible to position this as a DTH alternative, because people will not be able to use it in a conventional DTH where the TV is running for 24 hours or at least for 12 hours a day. It is not stopping. People are continuously keeping the TV on and doing all their work. So network strain will grow faster than revenue. It's very clear. Now, the second part, which is very, very important in this presentation, rupees 800 ARPU is affordable to only 20 to 25% of the household. How many households that we have in India? around 300 million households. And why do we believe that 300 million households cannot afford this 800 rupees ARPU of FWA? Because of the various data that we are seeing, right? The MOSPI, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, keeps publishing their reports, which is the foundation of the CPI index, where you can clearly see, and I have done multiple videos on that, to show that there is a huge strain on the overall consumption, monthly consumption, as you go higher, you go lower the tier, and you will find that the total consumption in the rural area and the urban area is very, very low. I think people might recall this chart which I have been showing all the time. See, if you look at this is the urban sheet, and let me just zoom in a bit, and then you will be able to see, and you will see that the latest report which was done was 2023-24, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and the per capita consumption in the urban area is 6,996, and the number for the rural area, if you go to rural area, you will find that this number for rural area, again let me zoom a bit, and you will see this is 4,122, and the segment which is responsible for this consumption, which is consumer service excluding conveyance, is only 5.25% in case of rural area. And if you go to urban area, this number comes out to be how much? This number comes out to be 5.72%. So there is a huge strain in consumption as regards, paying higher ARPU. And FWA definitely is going to seek higher ARPU. So we safely estimate around 20 to 25% of the household only can afford, right? So Jio is targeting 100 million FWA. It is unsustainable dream because the market is not that much. Given the economic conditions, say you may configure your network with the capability of all those exponential data that you are seeing, but the people will not be able to pay because of the reason which I have explained to you. So if the people are not able to pay, then what will happen? So just to further amplify the argument, I'm going to show you another sheet. And this sheet is kind of a breakup of the on a fractional basis, means all this service area. As I told you that in case of rural, the number is 5.72, and in case of urban, the number, what was the number in case of rural? Let me just go and see again. So in case of rural, the number was 5.72. It is case of urban, right? 5.72. Consumer service excluding conveyance. And in case of rural, this number was 5.25. So rural was 5.25, urban was 5.72. Now, if you go here and have a look and do a classification of various classes, segments, you will find that only 5% of the people in rural area is consuming for that category. Consumer service excluding conveyance, not even 1,000 rupees. In affluent cities like Delhi, which is rural area. Now, if I go to urban area, this number is a little better, but still it is not that great. So people can pause the video and have a look at it. And that is the reason I have estimated this number, that number cannot be more than that. So which would mean, suppose this 100 million FWA home is the target, which would mean that supporting a 2 billion mobile equivalent data user. So the data consumption is growing, but revenue cannot grow because of two reasons. One is that as the FWA number goes, the strain on the network is going to increase because FWA consumes much, much more data compared to a typical mobile smartphone user. So, but it is going to pay a fraction of the consumption rate. So if you take the data price for an FWA user compared to that of a smartphone user, you will find that rate is substantially low. So the revenue is not going to be proportional to the usage. So network capex will rise, consumer affordability is getting capped because of the the reason I mentioned. So FWA is not a scalable replacement for mobile broadband because of the strain that is going to create on the network. And because that we have got 300 million homes, 20% of them can afford. So roughly the market is around 60 million, inclusive of all kinds of broadband. So India's FWA surge looks very strong. And this is the conclusion slide. But beneath lies an economic and network strain. Both of them. Broadband growth must be grounded in affordability, not just in data volume. So this is the tagline, friends. The broadband growth must be grounded in affordability and how you can deliver those services in the most effective and optimal fashion, and how people can afford those services given the economic constraint that they are in. That is why, which I believe, and this is this article which I wrote, which I'm going to paste a link in the description. In this article, the title of this article, you'll see the unscalable truth why fixed broadband can't follow the mobile data path in India. And ultimately, the way to deliver broadband is not going to be through FWA. Even if it is going to be through FWA, OFC is going to be much more reliable, because FWA is putting a lot of strain on the mobile network, as not going to commensurate them with the equivalent amount of service price which a typical mobile user pays to the consumer for the usage and for their usage of the network, right? So that is all, friends, which I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope that the title of the video now resonates. After having gone through this video in great depth, you now understand why fixed broadband can't follow mobile path in India, and this whole exponential increase of data which we are seeing in 5G network will not get monetized in a manner that we are expecting using fixed wireless access devices, because this puts a lot of strain in the network. Only way to monetize 5G is at the UE level, which I spoke about in one of my videos, means device level. For that, you need low frequency spectrum, because you don't need the mobile subscriber to get exponentially high speed, because mobile user doesn't require so much amount of data. It only requires reliability. Some of the applications needs to be reliable. Some of the applications needs to follow a certain scalability or SLA, right? So those things can be monetized, but we are still not ready, because our quality of 5G services at the handset level is pretty poor. FWA is good because of the reasons which I will talk about in a different video, because this video has already gone so long. But for mobile, 5G hasn't been successful, and to me, it looks like that it won't be, given the structure of the network that we have. We don't have a large quantum of low frequency spectrum where the mobiles needs to be latched on, because they are working indoors. Thanks, friends, for your time. I hope that you like this video and the whole analysis made sense. And if you have any comments, let me know in the comment section. And thanks for watching till the end, and I'll come back with a new video next time on a new topic. Thank you very much.